What's up guys, D628 here. Welcome to maybe another part of this. I don't know if this was even going in. Anyways, I don't remember the last thing we even did on the car. But I know the PTU's in. We have to put all the bolts in and torque them down to, I don't remember how much, but we'll figure that out here in a bit. All right, the last thing that happened is we got the heat shield. It's on, it's good. We have 5 of these bolts. We're gonna hand tighten them. So these 5 have to be tightened to 60 foot-pounds. And if one strips, I am going to off myself. I just realized I had to do this in the reverse order. Should I have put the bolts on first and then the heat shield? I just realized that. Yes, I probably should have. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Put the 5 bolts on and then do the heat shield. I honestly kind of forgot about the 5 bolts. Just because I'm doing this so timely separated. But yeah, pretty much you'll be able to torque all of these to the 60 foot-pounds that you need. Other than this one here, that one is pretty much impossible to torque. Just tighten it down as tight as you can. Pretty much I used, I believe, this guy here and then like a wrench to pull on it or something, if I remember correctly, when I did this last time. So this is gonna take me probably like 20 minutes just to get these hand threaded in there. So I'll be back, but you just have to kind of maneuver around it and go from there. Oh man. Oh my fucking God. I fucking can't do this. Alright, got the PTU bolts in. I did not torque one of them. I tightened them quite a bit, but they're supposed to be 60 foot-pounds. And you can see, I don't know why I'm having this issue right now, but you can see metal right there. This one for sure was starting to like fray a lot of the metal, not the other ones really. I don't know about the top one. This one you can't torque, so you have to do it as tight as you can. I don't know what issue I'm having right now, that I'm just having metal shavings everywhere. But yeah, none of them are torqued. They're tight enough. Don't care. Like, they're tight, but I don't know. They're probably like 50 foot-pounds or something. I don't know. I didn't get one to click because it just didn't work. Anyways, yeah, especially this one. Like you can see right there. I didn't want to tear that part off, but you can see just metal fragments. Anyways, that's on. Heat shield's on. Now we're doing this bracket here, and then this one goes back up pretty much like this, mounting to this, that one, and then that one right there. And these go to 19 foot-pounds. Knowing my luck, they just shred at 19 foot-pounds. Alright, and that's that. That's the bracket. Pretty much now the PTU is being fully held in. And now it's just time for the CV axles and the hoses to work with on the car. Once you find the splines that kind of meet, it'll start going in. Let's work on getting this one in first here. Just have to kind of wiggle it, move it back and forth, and push as hard as you can, and then the splines will all meet. And that is now in on that side. And now we can just take this in here, put it through, and make sure the splines are all good. It will go in there like so. So now pretty much these splines are in. That's fully seated in. And now pretty much we just got to get that ball joint on there. Just kind of wiggle it to get it through there. Yep, just wiggle it in there, and that will start going in. And this little screw here is for the ABS line, which we'll do last. But if yours are really, really bad, I would suggest getting new ones. When I did the transmission job, I clean them as much as I can, but obviously it's still pretty rough, but we'll just use them. What you'll need is a 15 millimeter for the actual bolt and a 18 millimeter for the nut itself. Just bolt it through. I forgot that you will need a long 18. This one won't work because the nut is gonna start hitting on it, but you can use a wrench too. That way you just need something to hold it as you're putting it on. Once we get it in there, then we'll torque it down to 82 foot-pounds. And we'll grab this guy. My torque wrench is just too long to hit the floor here, so I gotta get on the floor and just do it a little bit more difficult, but there we go, torque down, and that is that. And then we just have the axle nut. These are pretty much new because when I replaced the transmission, I got new ones, so these are probably 600 miles on them, so these are technically brand new axle nuts. I would highly recommend, if you've never swapped them, to get new ones. I believe they're 32 millimeter on here. Make sure you have thin walls, because if they're thicker, sometimes they won't go in. I think on this car you're fine no matter what you have, but just so you know, I'm just gonna hand tighten them. I don't like to use impact wrenches on this, just in case the threads aren't perfect. Okay, so once it's hand threaded, you saw how it started spinning. We're just gonna get a flathead or screwdriver and put it right there. That way the brake caliper is stopping it. Just grab a decently thick screwdriver, flathead, whatever, and then just put it in one of these vent holes that will fit on there. And if it goes in like that, then you will see once we start going at it, it can't go anywhere. So that is that. Don't drop your tools. And then on the axle nut, 58 foot-pounds plus an additional 90 degrees. I remember when if I recall correctly, when I did this last time, I could not do that additional 90 degrees. We're gonna do 58 foot-pounds, and then we have that screwdriver there again, and there's no way to do an additional 90, so I'm not sure. Do it on your own, but that's 58, and then it's not going anywhere else. So 58 foot-pounds axle nut on there. That way it's held with this. And that is pretty much how to place in your new CV axle on the driver's side of a Ford Escape. Not too hard to do this job. Taking it off is the worst part, especially if it's never been taken off. If it's fully rusted, then it makes it a little bit harder. So when I did it the second time, it wasn't hard at all to take it off. First time, completely hard. It was this one here was, for me, impossible to take off, and I have to get a new axle for it either way. That's why this one looks a lot shinier and newer. So these are the parts that you're gonna have for the passenger side. You'll have the axle nut, which I would replace if you've never replaced it. I replaced this about 800 miles ago before I did this new job on the PTU. So again, I would highly recommend replacing this. I would recommend replacing your lower ball joint bolts. I'm not, but again, if they're really bad like this, clean them as much as you can. I did that with the last one, and I will be doing it with this one. But these take quite a bit of abuse with the ball joint moving around so much. And then you will have these ones here. Again, if these have never been replaced, then I would highly recommend replacing this as well. Ford actually recommends replacing this when you're doing like a transmission job, or if you've never replaced this. Normally CV axles last lifetime of the vehicle unless there's some catastrophic failure. But yeah, if you have the car for, you know, 5, 6, 7 years, then I would highly recommend replacing that. But these are the tools that you will need, or this is the hardware you'll need, because that's the hardware you've taken off. I'm just gonna show you guys underneath the car first. So the brake caliper and all that stuff going to the PTU. This is that bearing part here. So pretty much it spins right on this. I'm gonna clean this off because it is a little bit crusty. Too lazy to grab my brake cleaner, but now it's smooth on there. But pretty much that will be going into here. Same process as the passenger side, just get it nice and embedded. This was a little bit harder, but also easier to know when it's embedded, because you'll see that bearing part of the axle being exactly where it needs to be. The long side, again, you'll know will be going into the PTU itself. And same thing here, just kind of wiggle a little bit until it gets somewhat in. And this one, we'll have to make sure that that's just met up properly. It has to go in a little bit more. Also, it's kind of an in-between cut. Only reason I didn't mention it because I can't use mine, but if you have an foot-pound torque wrench that goes up to 220, then I would recommend using this, but mine does not. It only goes up to 200, so I can't use it. That's gonna be for the little 13 millimeter, whatever, the little tiny spindle ones. As you can see here, it's not quite met up, so I have to just go in a bit more. So what I'm doing here to meet that in there is, if you just hammer it without putting pressure on it, it's not going to do anything, because there's, you know, the like the flexible parts where there's just no give. So what I'm doing is pressing it in using this one here to the compression of that one. So what I'm doing, as you can see, I'm getting a lot closer. It was like to here, because doing it by force with my hand, there's just no way of getting it in there. So I'm taking it here and then pushing it in all the way until like you can't feel it anymore, and then taking a rubber mallet to the end of it. That way there is impact hitting into it. I think a couple more swings should get the job done. And that there is now met up with that, so now we're good to put on that part there, which is all the way over there. Dang it. So this right here just simply goes on to there. Spin that one on. Just get it hand tightened on there. And then if this is where you had your inch-pound one, this is where I would recommend using it. But for me, I don't. So you have to do, you just want to do 2 stages on this one. So what that means is just doing it twice, just because you just want to make sure that they're going in equally. And of course, this is just an oversized application for this, but whatever. I recommend getting a long one. Same thing with the whole ball joint thing. It just hits the top of it, so you can't really use the 13 small. But yeah, it's 18 like 0.3 foot-pounds or 222 inch-pounds. So just get that tightened up. Okay, that's the first stage. Okay, second stage. And you just want to go over first stage again. Then you want to go back to this one. Just make sure it's good. There we go. And that is that part. Now the rest is the same as the other side, pretty much. Is you just want to pull this guy back. Get it nice in there, and again, just don't force the splines, just make sure that they're going in quite naturally on there. And then this guy here, just have to lower that a lot more than the other side. All right, that's going in, and then we're gonna pull that out a little bit, and then this should just go right in, especially with all the pressure that's there. Just wiggle it. There we go. And now we just have to get the joint to go in. As you can see, it's met up with it. It just won't go in. You just have to kind of wiggle it till it does. And it'll naturally go in there just because there's that pressure that's being pressed up, and that is that. So now that's in. Same thing, I'm just gonna clean this up on this guy. Then you get the bolt in here. This one went in a lot easier than the other side. Even the nut went in a lot easier. Other one was not wanting to cooperate. Then we'll get it tight with the impact and the wrench. Then we'll get it to 62 foot-pounds. Since it's right here, I'm gonna grab this extender just to make my life a little bit easier. That way I don't have to lay on the floor and get it all torqued and stuff. That way I can kind of be out a bit more like this. So we'll get that 62. There it is. That's on there. And then we'll grab the axle nut. I like to always clean around the area. Last time I just shot it with some PB. But again, replace this if you've never replaced it. Ford also recommends it, probably just to make more money because they're greedy bastards. But this one's brand new, less than 700 miles on it. And then you will be using a 32 millimeter socket on this guy. We'll get it hand tightened with the ratchet. Then for the axle nut, it's 59 foot-pounds. So we'll get that torqued down. It's a 59 foot-pounds with an additional 90 degrees, but you will see right now we're at 59, right? And there's no way to do an additional 90 degrees. So I just kind of tightened it down a little bit. That's what I did last time and it was fine. So that is how you replace the passenger side CV axle on the 2014 Ford Escape. On most cars, it's going to be the same process. This one's a little bit different because it has the PTU with the all-wheel drive model. But on the passenger side, it's almost the same process on like almost every car. Obviously, torque specs are different and things, but it's relatively the same on a lot of vehicles. But anyways, that's how you replace that. Now we got the CV axles in. Pretty much we're done with the car. All I have to do is put the turbo inlet hose in. Everything is torqued down to spec. I'm going to double check the drivetrain, or sorry, the drive shaft, and then I just have to put that guy on, which is like not that important. It's just like a chassis reinforcement. I'm not even exactly sure what that's for, but I'm guessing it's some kind of chassis reinforcement. We'll put that on, and then the tires, and that's it. Again, you don't have to take this off, but for the drive shaft, it just makes it so much easier than to mess around working around this thing. So we're just gonna get this bolted on. So that just goes in like that. You got the holes there. There's 2 nuts, and then there's 4 bolts. So we're just gonna get the nuts on there first. That way it can just be held. And they're all 15 millimeter bolts and nuts. Don't fully tighten them until you have it all aligned. And that's on. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's some kind of like chassis reinforcement thing. But yeah, that's on there. Next is the turbo hose, clamp, whatever you want to call it. And you just have this clamp here. I believe it's 8mm, but also like a Phillips or a flathead. And then this one's already on there. So let's just get this guy on here. All right, for those hose clamps, they are 7mm sockets. So just get that tightened up. So I'm an idiot, and I just realized that it's gonna be a lot easier to fill this up without the hose in there. I'm not gonna take this one off. I'm just kind of pushing it to the side. But now it's time to fill this guy up. And this is kind of the moment of truth. Not now, but once we turn on the car and run it. Because one, I don't know how that bolt, wherever the hell it's at, is gonna hold to this RTV. Hopefully it holds well and doesn't leak. And then to the leak from here, hopefully it's not worse. Now we're gonna fill that up with brand new gear oil with a brand new clean inside. We'll get that filled up, and then once that's filled up, we put this tube back on and tires on, and we're done with this. All right, so to open the PTU, it's a T50. So 18 fluid ounces, or about half a liter, should be what fills it up. I have a brand new 75 weight by 140 Valvoline. It's 946 milliliters, so about half of this should go inside of it. I would recommend using a pump for this, but I don't have one, so we're just using this. That way it's a little bit more difficult but easier than a regular bottle, because it would be kind of impossible. But this is like more flexible. It's just in a bag, and then you can tilt it and then just push the fluid through pretty much until it starts overflowing. Here we go, brand new fluid in the PTU. All right, somehow already, this was the same issue as before. It's already leaking through, and I have barely put probably 3 fluid ounces in it. So I don't know if it's just because of this crappy filler. It's definitely still not full to the point where it needs to be. Yeah, there's probably like 300 milliliters in there right now. Obviously some of it has to go through the gearing and stuff. Like once it's on, we're gonna still try to push more in there. I'm just closing it as I pushed more in before it all leaks out. There's just no way that it's filled up all the way, but what I'm gonna do is once the car is on, like I turn it on and get some movement in there, like after a minute of just driving a little bit, I'm gonna lift it again and fill it up one more time. I don't know why I'm more scared of turning it on now than I was when I swapped the transmission on it, but yeah. Anyways, oil's good. I checked that to make sure everything's good on that. Oil's good. Transmission fluid I just filled, pretty much replaced what was emptied with brand new transmission fluid, and got the PTU fluid in there. Again, I'm just gonna drive it a little bit, like one end of the block and back, and then just to make sure that PTU fluid's getting inside the full PTU with the gearing and all that stuff, and then fill it back up, just make sure it's all good. I'll do that tomorrow. But either way, this video is to see if everything is good. So let's see if it even turns on. You know, it has been off for about a month. I have not charged it or anything. Here we go. Honestly, I don't even know if it will. It probably doesn't even have battery in it. Yeah, I most likely have to charge it. It's I think it's fully dead. All right, it's about 3 months later. I gotta get my keys because I realized I left my sunroof open on the Prius from last night, and it's been raining, and it's raining again. So let me close that. Anyways, no Ford Escape, no Ford Fusion Mini. Ford Fusion is sold. The Ford Escape is staying. You might ask, because it's part of this video. Did I fix the Ford Escape? Yes. It is done. The Ford Escape is done. Out of here. Well, not out of here. It's in here, but it's done. PTU was not the issue. It was the motor mount of the car. That's the sound that it was making. My friend is the one who pointed it out because I was thinking it was a motor mount, but I wasn't exactly sure and I really didn't want to do it. We drove with it. He said it sounded familiar. I did it either way because it was like 60 bucks. Boom. Car's fixed. Bada bing, bada boom. Done. Ford Escape is done. Ford Fusion is gone. Mini Cooper is here. I'm not showing you too much because I've done some stuff to it. Today is April 15th. The last video you guys saw on the Mini was months ago. The Ford Escape video was months ago. But yes, the Vegas car that you guys will see next week will be the presentation of that car and how we upgraded it. A little hint of what we did to make it more drivable, fixable, safe to drive. But just a quick little glimpse of the Mini Cooper progress. Looks like a whole engine is in there. Looks like everything's put together. It is, and it runs. But you'll see more in the future. Anyways, I just wanted to make this quick little update at the end of the video because on the video that I made, I didn't know what was going on with it. The PT was still making issues, and some of the footage was lost as well, so I was like, whatever. I'll make a quick update for you guys. Today is April 15th for me, and for you guys, it's April 15th as well. So this is literally filmed on the day of the release of this video because I'm so behind on the weekly videos because there's just multiple cars and multiple projects. For you guys, it kind of comes out a lot later, so want to do a little quick update with the Ford Escape. But yes, it is done. The Ford Escape runs good. If you guys want to see, transmission swap on the Ford Escape, if you want to see, camera on the Ford Escape, hit the subscribe button down below because I've done, a decent amount on that Ford. I think that's the end of the Ford Escape on this channel. From here on out, it should be more fun vehicles, the Mini being one of them. And the other car from Vegas, which is not my car, but it's a cool car that you guys will see next week. Anyways, that's all I want to say. So I'm saying anyways too much. I'm going to go back inside because it's cold, and I just want to update you guys that what happened, and that is that. So thank you guys so much for joining me. If you guys liked it, hit the like button down below. If you want to see more vehicles, such as the Mini, want to block out because I did some cool looking things to it. It looks so much better the way it's now. But if you guys want to see that, you will see in the following weeks, and hit the subscribe button down below to find out more. So yeah, you guys have a wonderful and beautiful day. D6208's out.